All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JB. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Once again, before we get started, we want to send you all our well wishes during the current pandemic of COVID-19. We know that this is a very stressful and trying time, and as we always say, it is the uncertainty that fuels our anxiety, but let's continue to do our part by practicing the safety protocols, washing our hands, wearing our masks, practicing social distancing, and doing our part to slow the spread of this virus. We want to thank you all for your tremendous support. Again, people are finding out about our program little by little. We're not trying to take over the whole world. We're just a sports fan that created a sports program to show our love of sports to you. So we thank you all for your tremendous support. And if we could serve as a distraction to everything that's going on in the world, then that's something that we will continue to do. The Dallas Cowboys, Week 7, loss against the Washington football team. Folks, the only way to describe this game is the Dallas Cowboys getting their asses kicked sideways to Sunday. The Dallas Cowboys getting their heads cracked back to the white meat. And that's pretty much what you saw. And I believe it is a trying time in Dallas and something that you would never expect to see against a Washington football team that had only won one football game going into this game. And again, the Cowboys were whipped from the opening bell, or I would say from the opening kickoff to what you see at the end of the game, losing 25-3, and again, only mustering 3 points. So let's jump into the stats here. Quarterback Andy Dalton, 9 of 19, 75 yards, 1 interception. Third string quarterback, rookie, 7th round draft pick, Ben DiNucci. 2 of 3 attempts for 39 yards, and one of them was on a 31-yard pass. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Ezekiel Elliott, 12 carries and a whole 45 yards. Longest, 12 yards run. Amari Cooper, 7 catches for 80 yards. Tight end Dalton Schultz, 2 catches for 22 yards. Michael Gallup, no catches. CeeDee Lamb, no catches. On defense, Leighton Vander Esch, 12 total tackles, 9 solo. Jalen Smith, 12 total tackles, 6 solo. Finally, a DeMarcus Lawrence sighting, 7 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackle, 4 loss. Everson Griffin, where have you been? 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 sacks, and 1 tackle, 4 loss. The problem with that is the Washington football team and all their first-round draft picks hemmed up the Dallas Cowboys offensive line to the tune of 6 sacks. Ladies and gentlemen, total yards for this game, 142 total yards that the Dallas Cowboys gained today and only scored 3 points. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not time to press the panic button. We don't know what is. This is time to press the panic button, break the glass in case of an emergency, why somebody wasn't cut, why somebody wasn't fired. At some point, a message needs to be sent, but let's really get into this game. Folks, in the first quarter, the Dallas Cowboys amassed a total of 6 damn yards of offense. That is a problem. First points of the game was a strip sack fumble for a safety. The Dallas Cowboys they scored. Did the Washington football team, Cowboys, they get a kickoff. Tony Pollard has a good return that only nets a single field goal. That's the damn problem. I'm looking at Tavon Diggs, who is probably, I'm not going to say he's our best defender, but he has had his moments this season. The problem is I'm looking at him fighting with the Washington Redskins, the Washington football team. He's arguing with their receiver and pushing and shoving. And on the very next play, he's burned by a simple go route where the guy runs right past him. Don't know what defensive set he was in. The guy literally runs right past him. I mentioned running back Ezekiel Elliott's statistics. Ezekiel Elliott on a blitz pickup gets blasted by the Washington football team linebacker, last name Holcomb, that resulted in a sack. Also, at the end of the first half, as the Dallas Cowboys are driving, trying to gain some type of momentum going into the second half, a ball bounces off Ezekiel Elliott and is intercepted by the same linebacker, Holcomb. Linebacker Jalen Smith misses a tackle on a Logan Thomas touchdown catch. So it was just bad. Folks, in the first half of this game, the Dallas Cowboys only had about 25 plays, 56 yards. That's a serious problem. By contrast, the Redskins, 33 plays, 253 yards. I don't know what else to tell you, but it's bad. And you can make an argument. In the first half, 107 total yards, 65 rushing, 42 passing, with 1 turnover. Folks, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. It's shocking right now. The Washington football team, who has done pretty much nothing since their come-from-behind win against the Philadelphia Eagles, are now 2-0 in the division because they now have a victory over the Dallas Cowboys. So Dallas Cowboys, their stock or, I guess, divisional ranking should fall. And, folks, this is the 4th game this season that the Cowboys trail by 17 points. As for the Washington football team, it's their first time leading at the half in their last 9 football games. So the Dallas Cowboys only scored 3 points in the first quarter and scored nothing for the rest of the game. Absolutely nothing. Now, out of everything I just read to you, out of all the numbers that I just gave you, nothing was more disgusting. Nothing was more indicative of where this team is now, that really crystallized how lost this season is. When Andy Dalton in the third quarter, goes for a quarterback draw. I guess it was a play set up, but he decides to run the ball. As he slides and gives himself up, the Washington linebacker, Bostic, with a hard hit, knocks his helmet off, almost like he knocks Andy Dalton out. Andy Dalton has to be carried off the field, and you see not one punch being thrown from a Dallas Cowboy player. You don't see a fight breaking out on the field. You don't see any type of emotion or upset. You see players holding their hands to their head the same way when Dak Prescott was hurt, even though it was 2 different circumstances. But I was looking for the fight. I was looking forward to standing up for your quarterback, defending your quarterback. And me personally, I really didn't have a problem with the hit. It looked like a legal hit to me. He was trying to lead with his shoulder. He just happened to make contact with the head first. So again, we try to be objective at Chin Check Radio, despite us being fans. I thought the guy was trying to make a best case effort to try to hit with the shoulder. And again, it's one of those bang bang plays. But understanding that, you're definitely not going to do that to a Tom Brady, Drew Brees, or Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, and their teammates are not going to do or retaliate or say anything about it. And I think that's very telling, that there was no arguing, that there was no fighting, that there was no pushing and shoving. There was none of that. The Washington football team had complete disregard for the Dallas Cowboys. You had Deron Payne talking trash to players where he had to be restrained by his own teammates. So the Dallas Cowboys, again, got their heads cracked to the white meat playing against the Washington football team, who I'm finding it funny. A lot of their fans have come out of the woodworks now. But when we're spanking their asses like the last couple of years, I didn't hear anything from them. So they deserve this victory. They deserve the gloat. It looks like Andy Dalton might not be available for next week, so they're going to put in, again, rookie 7th round draft pick Ben DiNucci from James Madison, and even some of the snaps he took today, you're fielding shotgun snaps with one hand. I had a serious problem with that. He added one good pass to Amari Cooper, so I don't know what they're going to do. The Dallas Cowboys 2020 season is crumbling right before their very eyes. There was an article I read that around the same time in 2018, they had a bad record. They made a trade for Amari Cooper, and that turned things around. But this is nothing that I see that one player is going to make a difference. The defense is still atrocious. And what's ironic and we did a broadcast on what we thought was going to be the Cowboys' strengths, and how wrong were we? We'll say this again. We were totally wrong. This is not just about Gerald McCoy not playing. We were totally wrong. The Redskins, their strength is their defensive line, which I thought was going to be the Dallas Cowboys' strength. And again, we were wrong, and we would eat that. And unfortunately, where do we go from here? Who knows? Again, I was hoping somebody would be cut or fired to send a message to somebody. Somebody should be benched. The offensive line is in disarray. This whole team needs a complete makeover here. You still got Dak. You still got Zeke. You still have some pieces there. But I'm looking at an offensive line that really needs to be made up. You lost Travis Federer, who retired. You have Zach Martin is out. You have Lyle Collins out. You have Tyron Smith is out. At some point, they're going to have to rebuild this offensive line. The defensive line clearly is not working out with the players that they have. If anything, I will start playing some of these young guys, the Bradley Anays, the Gallimores, who's getting some playing time. I believe I saw Dorrance Armstrong in there. He definitely made some plays at defensive end. So whatever you're getting out of your starters, the Dontari Poes and the Woods, you're just not getting anything out of these guys. I would sit these guys down and play some of these young guys and see what you have, because even if the Dallas Cowboys somehow win this division, which I don't think they will at this point, if they somehow win this division, does anybody really think they're going to do anything in the playoffs with the team that I'm looking at that's on the field now, where they look woefully inept on offense, poor on defense, not in the right position, getting absolutely ran on? If you're not getting ran on, you got wide receivers just running past your cornerbacks. So this is a second consecutive bad loss. And it was even worse than last week because, again, you only got 3 points and now you're down to your third-string quarterback. So just issues upon issues upon issues in Big D. Folks, other Cowboys fans, this season is a wash, and they really have to think about trying to rebuild here. The first thing I would do is Mike Nolan, your pardon gets you out the door, and Mike McCarthy. Here's where I'm going to spare Mike McCarthy just a little bit, and I'm going to get on the players. Because just last week, players complained that the coaches didn't prepare them, the coaches didn't know what they were doing, they weren't ready to play, they weren't doing this, and they weren't doing that. Now, as a lifelong Cowboys fan, I can look at things from a bit of a historical perspective. The Dallas Cowboys, when Wade Phillips was coaching that team, and he was fired. And he brought in, I believe, Paul Pasqualini was the interim defensive coordinator until they brought in one of the Ryan guys. And I always get them confused. They said that Wade Phillips' defense was too complex and that one of the Ryan boys, his scheme was much easier, and the defense struggled. So again, you blame the coaches, you blame the coordinators, and it's still a poor defense. You blame Rod Marinelli, you blame Chris Richard, and the defense has gotten worse, yet the players are still there. That's a problem. I've had my issues with Jason Garrett, and they've been documented. Go back and look at a broadcast I did on the Jason Garrett era. Did I think it was time for him to go? Yes. But the same offensive talent, which, looking at the game today, it made me wonder, the Dallas Cowboys are ranked #1 offensively. After the last 2 games, that ranking is going to have to drop. And I'm looking at, for the most part, the same offensive weapons, minus more offensive weapons, minus the offensive line, and they're actually worse. So definitely a complete overhaul is needed, where definitely the defensive coordinator has to go. The linebacker coach, anything on the defensive side, they have to go. That's just the bottom line. On the offensive line, swallow their pride, bring back Bill Callahan. I don't know why they let him go in the first place. In 2014, he was an offensive line coach, and that O-line was running roughshod on people. So go cut that man a check and bring him back to Dallas. And those are some of the changes that I would seriously make. Kellen Moore, my issues with play calling with him, even on that play when Andy Dalton was strip sacked, why in the world are you passing the ball? We have Ezekiel Elliott. you're going up against a defensive front that pretty much has a bunch of first-round picks on there. So Ron Rivera, defensive coach, has a bunch of studs on his defense, on the Deron Paynes and the Sweats and the Chase Youngs and the Jonathan Allens, a bunch of studs on the defensive line. Their strength is at pass rush, so you should be lining up and running the ball and taking some of the air out of, and just taking some of the air out of them. And yet you keep passing the ball. So I have to give Kellen Moore the side eye, even though the numbers show that the team is ranked tops in the league in offense. But anybody watching these games objectively know that they're not a number one ranked offense. And I have to put some of the blame on Kellen Moore for abandoning the run too soon, where you're putting the ball in your quarterback's hands, you're having turnovers, and now you're falling behind. Ezekiel Elliott is not making things better because he's fumbling the damn ball every other game and multiple fumbles and losing the ball. And as you saw today, an interception bounced off his hands, so he was responsible for another fumble today. So this is a mess. This is a laugher. Of course, we're big-time Cowboys fans, so we'll watch out for the rest of the games. But until the next time, it's Chin Check Radio signing out.